Alright, we're at the Pinelawn Station on the Long Island Railroad's main line, roughly 33 miles east of downtown New York City. Today's Thursday, June 26, 2025, a day after a pretty significant heat wave. We had a pretty heavy rainstorm this morning. No thunderstorm, but a heavy rainstorm through the area where I live. Come through and cooled the temperatures down quite a bit. Nice and cool. It's in the 60s right now compared to being in the 90s, near 100 degrees yesterday. Today we're going to be seeing an M3's set run as train 1935 from Ronkonkoma to Penn Station. Matter of fact, this train does stop here at Pinelawn. Train scheduled to arrive and depart at 11:45. And we have a historical marker here indicating the station with the first depot, which opened in 1897, originally named Melville and renamed Pinelawn in 1898. And the Pomeroy Foundation put this marker here in 2017. Okay, we're taking a look at the home signal of lawn interlocking. Interlocking just west of Woodward Avenue over here in Pinelawn Road. This is where the main line originally went from single to double track at this point. The siding over here is used for freight moves, particularly in the evening when you have Newark and Atlantic RS40 going by. Usually RS40 services this side here. In 1986, when the main line got electrified, a new interlocking was built to the west of that point, named Farm 2. When the main line was double-tracked east to Ronkonkoma back in 2017, Farm 2 was eliminated and the new lawn was created. Of course, there was no need for a single-track to double-track because this was double-track all the way to Ronkonkoma. And we're taking a look to the west. Actually, you see, if you look a little further down, you see the original signal bridges of Farm 2. And those signal bridges, those signals are no longer in use with the new interlockings created when this line was double-tracked east of Farm 2, Ronkonkoma. All right, time now is 11:25. We're going to be watching train 1922, which is the local from Penn Station to Ronkonkoma Pass. It's running with M7 equipment, going through the new highway crossing. Gates will be coming down here at Woodward Avenue. See a plane take off to the adjacent Republic Airport. Westbound trains the first 2 cars platform, and eastbound trains the last 2 cars platform. Sometimes 1922, which is departing now, will run with an M3's set. Not today though. look east of here, this part of the main line is probably one of the best spots in the electrified territory of the main line east of Hicksville for foliage. Matter of fact, if you're looking to the left, you have the parks here at Pinelawn Memorial Park. Which are the cemeteries here in this vicinity. And especially during the fall and the winter over here are the best months out of the year for the foliage and the seasons. Of course, you could see the trees bloom here in the spring, the nice greenery here in the summertime. And of course, a great spot to catch trains without all the obstruction. All right, back here looking east, 1935 is running with a 12-car M3 set led by 9933. This equipment was used yesterday for a couple of runs. This set actually laid up in Ronkonkoma Yard last night after running back as train 1064. This set was actually supposed to be going to Port Washington last night, but did not. It went to Ronkonkoma instead and laid up in Ronkonkoma. So it went out this morning as train 1921, came back east prior as train 4912, and now we'll be heading west as train 1935. This equipment should be going to Huntington later as train 1556, which turns off at train 1935 in New York. Again, 9933 is the leader with 12 for train 1935. All right, he's finally on the move now. Time now is 11:44. 99.45, 46 right behind it. $99.41, $99.42, $99.20. 9922, 9907, 9908, and the 988384. All right, probably with a few moments to spare, we're at the Grand Avenue crossing and Railroad Avenue here in West Babylon on the Central Branch. We're going to be catching New York and Atlantic RS40, which does switching at the One World Recycling. Right in this area over here. RS40 running a little bit late today, and that should be getting here shortly with a nice mix of cars. Time now 12:14, and here comes RS40. As it's going over the overpass of Sunrise Highway, looks like we have an MP15AC on the point. As RS40 is going to be doing a bunch of switching here, as the leads to One World is just to the west of here. Again, he's going to be making a bunch of moves, and then he's going to proceed east to Babylon, tie the locomotives on the west end of the train, and then proceed back west on the Central Branch to the main line. Pretty sizable freight on this one. Conductor has just gotten off the locomotive to prep up the switch for his moves into One World. Separate the cars from the consist, putting in the cars that he needs to, and now he's proceeding forward. Looks like we have a GP38-2 within that consist as well. We have two MP15ACs within as well. MP15AC, 159 the leader. MP15AC, 155, and it looks like we have PR20B, 300. We have another conductor that's going to be working the signals here at Grand Avenue while they perform the switching operation here for One World. Alright, we're currently behind the Borndegien House in West Babylon, right off of Falbin Avenue. You're looking at the Central Branch while RS40 is doing its switching. We went to basically a secluded spot here so that when RS40 does in fact come here, this is where I could see the amount of cars without all the cars going around my car without getting hit. So we're at a secluded spot. The Borndegien House, which is behind me out of view, once a month except for the months of July and August, hosts a once a month general membership meeting of the Long Island Sunrise Trail chapter of the NRHS. And during the weekdays over here, it's very nice, quiet, and tranquil. Of course, it's not as quiet and tranquil when you got trains coming through here. And not only that, but in the evening when all the kids come out and play on the park. But during the daytime, it is nice and tranquil. Alright, time now is 1:30, overlooking from the Borndegien Park here in West Babylon. We're going to be watching RS40 make its move towards Babylon. Again, RS40 coming this way as he's making his move now. And it appears that they cut off the PR20B off the consist. There's 15 cars in the consist PR20B 300s now on the rear. There's quite a bit of switching here.